Hello, everyone. I'm Todd Vaughn. I'm the Communications and Community Engagement Coordinator here at the City of Lacombe. I'm joined by our CEO, Matthew Goudy, and of course, Mayor Grant Creasey. Today, we're talking about a new bylaw that Council just instituted at the last night's May 13th regular meeting council. That was a new encroachment bylaw. Mayor Creasey, do you want to discuss this item a little bit and why Council saw fit to pass this new bylaw?
Unfortunately, there's been far too many instances where lots have, for various reasons, crept up in size and consumed areas that are meant for public use and not for individuals. So this was probably I guess the most fair and honest way that we could do it in an open fashion, and hopefully it's received well by the vast majority of the public.
Consistently applied to, I think, is
exactly
the important part. When council was going through this, they really wanted to differentiate between someone who accidentally built their fence a couple inches off their property versus like what you were talking about, where someone, in some instances, very rare, thankfully, in our community, but where someone has deliberately extended their yard into a nearby municipal reserve or something of that nature, blocked the trail access, because they don't like people going by their house, that sort of thing. And so the bylaw does differentiate with those thresholds. As we were talking about, there's the minor, the moderate, the major, and then there's a few egregious ones where we'll be taking a special approach with those properties.
These things do happen. As our CEO has outlined, the special step that we've taken is to try and categorize them so that we can go about addressing the ones that are particularly troublesome, and perhaps looking aside for some of the ones that did not meet those various thresholds that you talked about.
Well, not even looking to the side, but documenting them. And so if someone is out there and they might know, I see that after my neighbor built his fence and he surveyed his in, I see that part of mine is a few inches in, and they've been nervous about how to deal with that. This gives them an avenue to legitimize that encroachment and make sure that they have some protection. The city has acknowledged that it exists. I do want to stress there's maybe a couple dozen major encroachments in the city. And Todd, you and I were talking about this before. When you look at the thousands and thousands of properties that are in Lacombe, to have only a couple dozen major encroachments that'll have to be dealt with through fining and directing people to remove those encroachments is actually pretty phenomenal. It puts Lacombe in a good spot where I think we are able to really get a handle on it and make sure there's an even playing field across the community.
I guess given that light though, so the bylaw itself would be more of a educational tool and a deterrent tool then, I suppose.
I think that's a great way to summarize it. However, there will be instances where we will be left with no other choice than to impose fines. And once again, that is just one of the avenues that people go about making restitution for these problem areas. There are many others. I don't think we necessarily need to go over today, but there's ways of correcting them. And in any event, the end goal is to try and make a fair level playing field for everyone.
Absolutely. I want to thank you both for coming on and talking about this new bylaw at City of Lacombe. And as Matt mentioned, you can get in contact with our planning development department if you have any questions on encroachments in the city.
Thanks.